Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. Recently, during a casual conversation with my son, I was excited to tell him that recently I connected with a friend of mine 15 years later. So my son looked at me with amazement. How could you not be connected with somebody in this age of connectivity? You have Twitter, you have LinkedIn, WhatsApp. There are so many mediums. That's correct. Perhaps we were not in the same platforms. But I can understand my son's frustration. He probably would have never lived in an age and time with none of these connectivity gadgets. He is so used to all of these connectivity gadgets and social media. Well, I have lived in an age and time when none of this existed. Say 25 years ago, I have lived in a time and age when none of this connectivity gadgets existed. But still, people connected, people linked, and liked each other. Fast forward 25 years. I have Instagram, I have Twitter, LinkedIn, WhatsApp, Facebook, you name it. I thought I had a good social media presence. I was mistaken. When I got into this project of boosting my social media presence, I thought I'll take another look at my LinkedIn profile. Well, on the outside, it looked okay. It had an introduction, it had my experience and my education, but that's it. I was not updating it. The viewership was declining. I had nothing new on that profile. So I took it upon myself to see what I can do to increase the viewership and have a good social media presence. Let me share with you 3 tips I used to increase my social media presence and increase my viewership. My viewership and my profile was none less than floatsome. My viewership was about 5 a week. So I thought I should set some targets to increase that, and I should be more present and visible on my social media. Initially, the first step that I took was to read and research. I read some articles on how to boost my social media presence, looked at some successful profiles to see what I can learn from them. And I set some targets. I took some genuine interest so that I can boost my social media presence. From 5, I wanted to increase it at least by 100%. I wanted to see my presence there and put an article or blog in there so that there would be more viewership on my article too. So I set some targets for myself. Initially, I started being there more often, appreciating people who have been promoted, looking at articles, reading articles, sharing those articles too, and providing my opinion. So I put myself in a position where I took genuine interest in doing this, and hence that brought me motivation. Secondly, I committed myself to going into my social media platform at least twice a day. So after the motivation, I had to convert that into commitment, going on a daily basis, consistently being on their LinkedIn profile to increase visibility and my presence. I committed myself to actually writing an article and to share some quality content. So with all that, I saw slowly the viewership increasing from 5 to 7 to 10. So from 5, it became 10. People started commenting on what I started to, what I wrote too. So within a few days, within at least 3 days, from 5, it increased to 10. So 100% increase in 2 to 3 days. Lastly, what I did was I read so much information, I had to take and recreate my brand. everything that I read online would not work for me. I had to create what worked for me and rebrand myself on how I would like to be remembered. So I wrote an article where it was mostly about positivity, even during this time of all negativity. I wrote an article about isolation, pains, and gains, mostly focusing on the gains. And again, I'm experimenting myself. I have certainly increased my viewership. I'm getting close to my target of achieving that viewership. I'm increasing on my contact. I'm getting close to my target. I have achieved my targets in the viewership portion of it. My article has more than 100 views in less than 2 days. And again, it's a work in progress. I'm working every day. With 3 simple steps, I can confidently say that I have increased or boosted my social media presence. At this point, fellow Toastmasters, I'd like to share my screen and describe what I've learned from these 3 tips. Like I said, my first point was to read profiles, read articles, and understand what was successful in certain people's social media and profiles. I set myself a target to increase my viewership by 100%, so that I had to do that with genuine interest and motivation. I had to do all of that. And secondly, increase my presence and visibility. I committed myself to going into my profile at least twice a day and sharing quality content. Thirdly, I was rebranding so that I would put myself on how I would portray myself and how I would like to be remembered with my audience. Again, it is a work in progress. I feel that I have achieved my target so far, and I have shared an article on LinkedIn on isolation, pain, and gain. I would encourage you all to view and comment and give me some feedback on that article. I will very shortly send it via the chat box. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.